The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for July 17, 2023 is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen.
Here.
Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson. Councilmember Marcano.
Present.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo.
Present.
Councilmember Sundberg.
Here.
And Councilmember Zvonek.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Invocation. Please join me in an invocation. O Lord, our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you would look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industry, sound education, and good government. Unite our community together, even though we come from different backgrounds. We pray that there be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Executive session update. In executive session, we discussed class action litigation, energy easement conveyance, utility extension projects. A motion to approve the minutes from June 28, 2023.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes.
It's been moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by
Zvonek.
Second by Councilmember Zvonek to approve the minutes of June 28, 2023. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the approval of the minutes for June 28, 2023.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the council minutes for June 28th, 2023.
Public invited to be heard.
Yes, Mayor, we do have a few individuals in person. The first person is Robbie DeYoung.
My name is Robbie DeYoung. I am with the Next Door Group, Stolen and Vandalized Vehicles in Colorado. We now have well over 1,700 members on our site. We are fed up with what is going on in this city. Yeah, I know. It looks like, if you look on paper, it looks like we're doing really good as a city. Looks like we're doing fine. Things are starting to go down. Do you understand the apathy that our residents have towards calling the police? They call the police and get told, oh, that's not an emergency. You're watching somebody wrestling with a gun with a security guard. That's not an emergency. We'll put you over to non-emergency. Or the gentleman that his neighbor earlier in the week had his vehicle stolen. And then he goes out and he sees some kids doing the same thing to his vehicle. And he takes matters into his own hands. And all of you need to be aware of this, that there is so much apathy going on right now where people are not even reporting crimes. So the statistics that you see in the crime database doesn't even reflect all of the crimes that are happening. We have people that have reported someone stealing a vehicle and have restraining orders on that person, only to find out that that person was finally, after multiple times before a judge, before multiple times of having warrants out for his arrest, he finally got put in jail for 4 years. However, he only stayed for 2 years. And then what did he do when he got out? He started his little spree all over again. He's due to go back to court, this time in Denver and not here in Aurora this time. But he will have had more than 3 strikes. Far more than 3 strikes. But yet, every time you turn around, he gets let out over and over and over again. And you know, it's either, oh, let's not have anybody go to jail for something like that. Let's give them free housing. Let's give them free food. Let's give them free medical. We'll even give them an education if they want it. But if they don't want it, that's okay. We'll still let them have all of the freebies. And then others just seem to ignore it. We need to do something about what is going on in this city before it gets to the point where there is no return. And we do need to remain friends with our neighboring law enforcement so that if we need help, they come to us. And if they need help, we go to them.
Lauren Rombach, followed by Lacey Couch.
I'm Lauren Rombach. I'm here to talk to you tonight about a pet store ordinance to ban the sale of puppies and kittens in pet stores in Aurora. The public unknowingly funds puppy mills through their purchases. According to Bailing Out Benji, the definition of a puppy mill is a breeding operation in which the health of the dogs is disregarded in order to maintain a low overhead and maximize profits. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the term puppy mill was first used in 1973 and is a commercial farming operation in which purebred dogs are raised in large numbers. And I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but this is what they look like. We got drone images from Iowa, and they're large-scale farming operations, you know, akin to a factory farm, like, you know, pigs and chickens and cows are put in. Aurora had a store called Pet City at 14200 East Alameda Avenue that was closed after being investigated for delinquent tax payments. They source their puppies from puppy mills, and I'll send you guys that information so you can see exactly where they source from. These are unscrupulous and fundamentally unethical businesses that don't add to the community. They prey on the community through predatory lending practices, poor business practices, selling overpriced and sick puppies, and lying to consumers about where the dogs come from. Because oftentimes they'll say, they come from reputable breeders, but they're not. Reputable breeders wouldn't sell to a pet store. There are a multitude of pet supply stores with humane business models. For example, Wagon Wash, I was in there recently. I was told they make $4,000 to $6,000 per day through grooming and pet supplies. So if you have a pet supply store, it's very profitable. You don't need to be selling live animals. Shelters and rescues are in crisis right now. I volunteer for Hobo Care Boxer Rescue. They get purebred boxers all the time. They have gotten doodles. They've gotten other kinds of dogs. There's loads of purebreds, and they're in crisis right now. They can't even take any more. There's so many dogs. Shelters cost money for the community. Even worse, millions of dogs are being euthanized every year in the United States due to lack of space. And you can imagine if your life came down to a lack of space and someone wanted to kill you because there was no space left. It's horrible. An ordinance to ban the sale of puppies and kittens in pet stores in Aurora would only affect brick and mortar stores from opening and help shrink the puppy mill industry. We just have to do it somehow. Cities who have already passed an ordinance, and there's 12 in Colorado, are sending the message that they don't support this cruelty. And by passing as many ordinances as we can in cities across the Front Range, we are sending a message to the state legislators that a statewide ban on pet stores selling puppies is long overdue. We need something stronger. So please help us to eradicate puppy mills by adopting an ordinance in Aurora and saying that you don't support cruelty in this city. Thank you very much.
Lacey Couch, followed by Irene Darville.
Hello, good evening. I'm also here to speak about the potential ordinance, and I am coming from a little bit different perspective. I spent a decade as a veterinary technician, and I've spent about 20 years working with nonprofit rescue organizations. So I have seen so many horrific things, from cruelty and neglect to the diseases that come out of these places. So one of the things that I think communities need to consider is that it doesn't just affect the people that are buying these dogs. And quite often, people go into a store, it's a clean store, it looks nice, they've got cute puppies and kittens, and who doesn't like that, right? And so either the people leave because they buy a dog because they think this is a great business and it's just like going anywhere else and buying a product that's fine, or they actually know that it's a bad thing and it's a dirty store and this and that, and they feel like they're rescuing, but in fact, they're just giving money to the people that are perpetuating the problem. So it's a problem for them because often those dogs are sold too young. They have behavior problems because they didn't get to spend enough time with their moms and their litter mates, and they have diseases that end up costing those people a bunch of money. But it doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone in the community, because those animals also are bringing diseases in that are communicable to other people in the community that have pets. The veterinary industry right now is completely overwhelmed and overburdened. It's very hard to get appointments at a lot of vet clinics, and they're understaffed just like so many other businesses. And it makes it harder for your responsible pet owners that are in the community to get the vet care that they need, because you're bringing in sick animals that are going to overburden that system even further. And then, like she said, the rescues are full. It's very hard to find a rescue right now that can take any animals in from a shelter, and then the shelters are a tax burden on the community as well. So we're working on this at the state level, but the state protections right now are not adequate. So we're looking for all of the cities around the Denver metro and around the state to enact these ordinances to prevent these stores from opening up. Look to rescues, look to reputable breeders that are not going to sell through these stores. There's plenty of ways to get pets out into the community that are not going to be supporting puppy mills. And then hopefully we can strengthen the statewide laws and regulations as well. But in the meantime, we'd love to see your community, this community, and lots of others around Denver enact a preventive ban to keep these pet stores from opening up and giving them an outlet. Thank you.
Irene Darville, followed by Jessica Knapp.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Irene Darville. I am the pastor of a local church here called Christ Embassy. It's my first time coming to a council meeting, and I have to tell you, I'm shocked that you started the meeting by prayer. I'm utterly shocked. Because when we go out in the street, it looks like the church don't matter. But if we pray to God, that means the church does matter. And I came here because I'm concerned about what I see in my community. And I hear people call my church all the time. And they tell me, oh, do you give vouchers? Do you do that? I'm very concerned about that. I don't believe that that's what we need. Because people just look at the church as another way where the government just a channel to donate and give free food or something to the people. And I think that messes up with the mentality of the people. I'm very concerned about that. And my reason for coming here today is to let you know that maybe if there's someone that can have, maybe they give us a time to see what we as a church, what we offer to our community. We don't want to be one of the church where people can just come and have free food. That's really not what the church is for. The church is to teach people how to think, how to live a victorious life without living a victim life. And I'm looking for that opportunity to partner with the city. And we have excellent materials that we could use to help our youth, maybe single mothers or whoever would listen. But we're looking for opportunity to work with the city to help our community. That's why I came here. Thank you.
Jessica Knapp.
Katie, can I have the last speaker's information, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. I'm also here to ask you to please consider a preventative pet store ordinance. Over 450 municipalities in the U.S., including 12 in Colorado, have already done so, and the majority of these are preventative because it does not affect a business. You won't be shutting a business down. The reasons for this are stores prey on customers' emotions to get the highest sales price possible, and then they push in-store financing with extraordinarily high interest rates. Stores are selling sick animals, burdening the customer with vet bills on top of their purchase price. Stores have also been known to sell a mixed breed at a pure red price. And the most pressing issue is that stores are sourcing from puppy mills, and this statement is heavily documented primarily by Bailing Out Benji, which is a nonprofit with the largest puppy mill database in the U.S. A pet store ordinance would only prohibit the retail sale of dogs and cats. It does not encroach on pet supply stores, nor does it prevent collaboration with local shelters or any adoption events, because adoption isn't retail sale. It would also not affect responsible breeders, as they do not sell to pet stores. They sell to the public, and they care about their animals and passing on accurate information. Animals that are not sold in stores often end up in shelters, or like the store that closed here, they were just auctioned off, and a lot of times those dogs are used as bait dogs for fighting, or they get put back into the puppy mill industry and they become breeding dogs. And pet stores don't ensure that animals are going to prepared owners, which increases the likelihood that the animal will be surrendered at a later date. Shelters require an immense amount of tax dollars, time, and resources. They're overflowing, and there's no need for them to compete with pet stores. Our concern is that another pet store selling dogs and cats would open here and create problems for the city and surrounding cities. We're concerned about the entire Denver metro area. The state did try to pass a ban. It devolved into PACFA, which was supposed to protect consumers, and it has not been doing so. So we're asking for the cities surrounding Denver to come together and pass these preventative ordinances and really just ensure that the cities aren't becoming part of the puppy mill pipeline. Thank you.
That was the last individual.
Land acknowledgement. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands and make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous peoples have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Adoption of the agenda. Motion is in order.
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Move to adopt the agenda with the exception of item 12A.
Second.
Okay. The question before us then is the adoption of the agenda with the exception of, you want to take 12A out to be able to talk about it? Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's not really,
No, Mayor,
that's,
no,
yeah.
to continue it to
Yes.
the next meeting.
Oh, you want to continue to?
Not to continue. I want to remove it from the agenda. I'll reintroduce it at a later date.
I'm sorry.
I just wants to remove it and reintroduce it at a later date.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Mayor.
Councilor, Mayor Pro Tem.
If agreeable, I'd like to continue item number 13C until July 31st as a friendly amendment.
That's a friendly amendment.
To July 27th.
And
31st.
I consider that a friendly amendment as well.
I'm sorry, July 31st?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there further amendments? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the agenda with the exception of continuing 12A and 13C to the regular meeting on the 31st of July. Discussion?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. 12A is not to be continued onto the 31st. I will reintroduce that one later. I need to workshop it a little more before we bring it back.
So 12A removed, 13C continued.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, what do you want? I'm not clear what you want to do with 12A.
So we're going to remove 12A from the agenda. Table
Table
it,
it.
thank
Okay,
you.
yeah,
And then
it's not removed.
the other one will continue to the 31st.
Okay.
It's okay.
So table indefinitely? Okay, so then the motion is to adoption of the agenda to table indefinitely item number 12A and to continue item number 13C for the regular meeting on July 31st. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Sundberg. Okay, the motion passes to adopt the agenda with item 12A and item 13C removed.
Next question is the consent calendar, item number 10A1 to 10C3.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
motion to approve 10A1 through 10C3.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Birkin.
Seconded by Councilmember Bergen to approve item number, the consent calendar of motions, item number 10A1 to 10C3. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar as amended. Well, it's not amended, I'm sorry. Adoption of the consent calendar.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
Next is adoption of the consent calendar resolutions and ordinances. Item 11A1 to 11B3. And I will remove 11A1.
Oh.
Are there further amendments? Seeing none, question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar 11A2 through 11B3. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question.
Mayor, we need a motion and a second.
I'm sorry.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
motion to approve 11A2 through 11B3.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Coombs.
Councilmember Coombs. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar resolutions and ordinances 11A2 through 11B3.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances with item 11A1 removed.
Okay.
What did we just?
Will the clerk now please read the title to 11A1?
Item 11A1 is Resolution 2023-71, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, directing the city manager to suspend all law enforcement mutual aid agreements with the City and County of Denver until Aurora receives assurances from Denver that they will be responsible for the defense and damages that arise out of incidents where mutual aid is requested and provided by Aurora.
Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Peter Schulte, Public Safety Client Manager, City Attorney's Office. This resolution is outlined to show these go back to the 2020 protests where the City of Aurora and several other cities were requested by Denver to come downtown and help with the protests. Our officers were under the direction of the Denver Police Chief, and during that time, as we all know, there were several lawsuits that were filed following those protests. The main aspect of this resolution is under the Colorado Revised Statutes 295104, which is when we talk about another sheriff or police chief calling in other officers from other jurisdictions because of a major disruption in their city, and that's what we call as mutual aid. This particular resolution, as presented by the mayor, would ask that we not respond to the city of Denver in one of those situations. The day-to-day actions where we have officers that work together along the jurisdictional boundaries of Denver and Aurora would not change. That's other aspect of the law that deals with those. So this resolution at this point, unless other direction is given by council, would be that if Denver called and asked for assistance. By the way, we had an issue earlier this year where we thought after the Memphis issue that they might need help. They didn't ask. So they sent letters to all the agencies except Aurora in that regard. So that's what this resolution does. And you'll see in Section 3 where it does say that nothing in this resolution shall be deemed to change the legal ability of officers from either jurisdiction to cross over jurisdictional lines on day-to-day situations as allowed by other law.
Thank you. Let me speak to this just for a minute. I talked to Mayor Hancock probably a couple weeks ago, about this issue, and I think his position at that time was that, we'll get clarification in the court as to what the decision is, as to really what our liability is. Well, I think there's some wiggle, they're choosing their interpretation of the statute, and I think they're taking a very narrow interpretation to say, negligence will indemnify on the basis of negligence, but not on constitutional violations. And so, but when you're in these big protests, the plaintiff, when the lawyers that represent the activist groups, it's all about constitutional questions. And so there's just no way until we get an agreement, until they agree to indemnify our officers, really on what occurred in 2020 after the George Floyd protest, and then and going forward, it's just not feasible for us to send our officers into Denver under a mutual aid agreement. Discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. So you mentioned Mayor Hancock. So Mayor Hancock is done as of earlier today. Have you reached out to Mayor Johnson yet to discuss this issue with him?
Mayor Johnson and I have just talked briefly, but we're going to sit down and go over this issue. And certainly at any time that they make the commitment, we'll renew I think there's value in bringing the mutual aid agreement before council to have it go forward. And so it's really just pending on really two things. It's pending on their indemnifying our officers on the basis of the 2020 incident where we were called upon to go in there under the mutual aid agreement and acted under the leadership of the Denver Police Department. And so indemnify our officers based on that incident and going forward and commit to go forward to indemnify our officers, and then we can certainly renew the mutual aid agreement.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So my concern is related to Section 3. I think it's pretty clear. State statute says that they should indemnify our officers, and I agree with that. I think what my concern is, we can put all this language in here on Section 3 about nothing in this resolution shall be deemed to change the day-to-day. And that might be what the official line is. That might be officially what this resolution says. But unofficially, this document is a big, giant middle finger to Denver. And granted, they've given us a middle finger, too, by not indemnifying our officers. But what my concern is by passing something like this unofficially, behind the scenes, day-to-day police work where a car is stolen in Aurora and ends up in Denver, or a drug case or any other crime that crosses city borders, because we all know criminals and really nobody cares about city borders. What my concern is that unofficially officers in Denver will make our lives, or our officers' lives, I should say, much more challenging and make it that much harder to solve crime. I guess I don't understand. Well, let me back up. My understanding is this is not going to be seen in front of a court for several months, probably later this fall or early winter. And so I don't understand the rush to do this when a new mayor was sworn in, 8 hours ago? Because again, my concern is that those day-to-day situations are going to be impacted. We can say all we want that they're not going to be, but if I'm a Denver officer and Aurora City Council passes what's essentially a big middle finger to Denver, I'm going to make it pretty challenging to solve some of those day-to-day crimes. And so I guess I just don't understand, Mayor, why you don't contact the new mayor and try to get this worked out. My understanding is we've had a similar situation back in 2008 when the Democratic National Convention was here, and originally the Denver Police and the Denver City Attorney's Office said that we weren't going to indemnify your officers. The mayor at the time of Aurora and Denver got together, worked it out, and they indemnified our officers. So I guess I don't understand why we don't try that approach first.
So first of all, sorry, go ahead. First of all, we shouldn't have to go into litigation to get something that I think is clear in state statute. And secondly, this puts pressure on Denver I believe, to defend our officers as they defend their own if our officers are working in Denver under their direction. And as to the culture of the police department, it is a very mutual benefit thing that every day on an operational basis that we work together and continue to work together because criminals don't understand the boundary between Aurora and Denver. Maybe somebody from APD to comment on the culture of the police department.
Mayor, I think Chief Acevedo's on remotely
okay.
where he's at, if we can bring him up.
Okay.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. I feel strongly that as it relates to day-to-day operations, our work will continue. Our officers understand that there's a question of law in terms of indemnification, but we're confident that the day-to-day work will not be impacted by this.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, this is all great. We can say all we want, and I guess we have control over what our officers do, but we don't have control over what Denver's officers do. So, I mean, what I would propose, and maybe, I don't know if I need to make this as a motion or what, but this gets continued for a month, and the mayor contacts the mayor of Denver and tries to work something out. That's how things get done, not by giving them a middle finger by passing a piece of paper.
Well, let me tell you,
I would second that.
this gives
Mayor.
me leverage to negotiate with the mayor and to get them to do what really is their job.
Mayor.
Councilmember Morgan.
Yeah, thank you. I certainly understand the intent behind this, and I do think our officers should have been indemnified. I tend to agree with Mayor Pro Tem Gardner in terms of just maybe putting it on pause for a month so that you have an opportunity to talk to the incoming mayor. And then if you don't feel satisfied with the response, then we would pass the resolution. That would be my ask.
I really think that the mere fact that we have to go to court for this, I want them to drop the lawsuit. I want them to allow us to go into a summary judgment to where we don't have to go. We're spending money unnecessarily on litigation. And so this gives me, without this, there is no leverage. Without this, there is no leverage to get this done. If you don't believe that our officers ought to be defended when they're called upon in Denver to go into Denver under the direction of Denver, and that our taxpayers are going to have to make up what could be an enormous bill if our officers aren't indemnified by the 2020 incident. That's incredible.
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
Mayor. Yeah, so I agree that our officers need to be indemnified. I don't think there's anybody here that disagrees with that, but leadership and collaboration with our neighbors shouldn't be about leverage. It should be about leadership. It should be about communication. And if we feel that we need to exercise leverage over them to come to an agreement, I think the agreement we're going to come to is going to be an impoverished one. And it is going to be one that hinders our future relationship with this new incoming mayor and council. And frankly, neither our officers nor their officers get a vote on this. So talking about what the opinions may or may not be of officers that we don't know on a day-to-day basis isn't relevant here. It's, are we willing to exercise the leadership to have a good relationship with our neighbors?
$14 million. It was a payout so far from Denver on behalf of their officers. This is not a small matter. And I would ask you to give me the leverage to go in to negotiate with Denver. I think what they did was incredible. And yes, I think there's no question we're going to have a good relationship as I did with Mayor Hancock, despite this one hiccup, and as I did with Mayor Southers, with the new mayor. And in fact, we came to an agreement late last year on issues to bring down the crime rate that we all agreed on. And we took that to the governor and took that to the legislature, and the governor supported it, and the majority of it was passed by the legislature. So we will continue to work on that. But this is, I think, the reason why Denver has balked at this is just because of the sheer magnitude of the numbers. And this is really sticking it to the taxpayers. And I think it's unfortunate. So in a matter of principle, we are not, you have to agree with me that it is not wise to send our officers in when Denver is not willing to defend them.
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
Okay, just to get clarification and a better understanding, your position is that if we don't do this resolution and Denver were to call us for mutual aid, we would be obligated to do that? Is there any way we would be able to say, no, we're in pending litigation and versus this resolution?
Well, I just think this is, yes, if in fact we don't vote for this, we would have to send our officers in under the mutual aid agreement. And we could get stuck with the same thing all over again. I want two things from Denver. Number one, I want them to indemnify our officers for the 2020 incident that occurred under the Hancock administration. The Mayor Hancock and I just disagreed over on this issue that they indemnify our officers based on that incident so that our taxpayers are not stuck with a big bill. And then secondly, yes, they have to commit to indemnify irrespective of what happens in the litigation. I mean, it makes no, again, in these major protests, it's always going to be constitutional claims. And we're going to be stuck with a bill again and again and again until we get resolution.
Mayor.
Councilmember Jurenski.
Yeah. Pete, can you just tell us what the current status is of the lawsuit?
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Jurenski. So I'll give you a little bit of background because obviously my team has been dealing with this quite a bit with the litigation team of our office. We started conversations back at the beginning of the year about trying to come to a resolution. This was right after the trial that Denver had, where we were actually we were part of that lawsuit, and we were bifurcated out. So they went to trial, and that's when that verdict that Mayor was talking about, that it was the $14 million verdict. So now what we're let with, because of where we are, our concern is that we are now stuck, set for trial on the exact same facts, the exact same plaintiffs, the exact same allegations, where, again, if they win against Aurora, do they then get to collect more money for the same acts, right? So that's why it became important for us to start having discussions with the city of Denver and the city attorney's office over there to try to get some resolution there. We talked and we talked and we talked, and we were telling, we were very upfront that we believe, and the issue, as the mayor has talked about, is what is the definition of a tort? Well, a tort in a legal term, right, is a personal injury case. Somebody has either been physically harmed or civilly harmed, right? And part of the definition of a tort, our position is that a violation of somebody's constitutional rights is a tort. Denver's position is it is not. And that's where we are. So what we decided based on the language of the statute is to file what we call this declaratory judgment action, actually have a judge declare what the law is. In response to that litigation, where we are today, Denver filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, stating that we have not stated a claim that we can recover from. And so what we're waiting on now is that we just finished, they filed their motion, our team filed our response brief to the court, stating that we've obviously have a issue here, there's a claim that we need to figure out, and then they filed another response brief. So now it's sitting at the district court with the district judge, not knowing when that issue is going to be resolved. We can't do anything until that particular issue is resolved at the court. I don't believe, personally, I don't believe the judge will grant it. I can't speculate, but that's where we are in the litigation. It's going to be several months, if not longer, before we get any resolution on this issue.
Mayor, I have a follow-up question.
Councilmember Jurenski.
So just clarification. I know you said you imagine that would be, but Pete, can you, something happens in Denver tomorrow, and we don't pass this, something happens, in Denver, if we bring this back, our officers would have to go to Denver unless we have this in place?
So the way it would work is that the Denver police chief would put out a call, right? What they have done since 2020 is they have put other agencies on notice, right, stating that, hey, we may have protests downtown, we may need assistance. Again, like I stated originally, the last time this happened in May with Memphis, they did not send us a request for help. So I think Denver's already in that position. We didn't ask them for that, but I think Denver's in that position now where they're not asking us. I have talked to Chief Acevedo and I have talked to Chief Morris. I mean, again, if Denver is burning, right, that is a major disruption. Of course, Chief Acevedo and Chief Morris are going to call legal and say, what do we do? I'm not saying that we won't go, but that is the kind of the discussion that we've had. This at least gives, based on the resolution, would give Chief Acevedo and Mr. Batchelor the ability to tell Denver, these are our expectations today. We don't know what will happen if we have another, like George Floyd protest, but as of today, in run-of-the-mill mutual aid requests, we can't go until this issue is resolved.
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
So based on hearing that opinion from Mr. Schulte, I think I'm going to have to support the resolution, even though I wish that we could, come to a resolution more amicably than through this means. But I do think, to your point and to Mr. Schulte's point, we would be putting our officers in a very precarious situation of having to not be indemnified if we get called, and we don't know if they will or not. So with some hesitancy, I think I will support this.
And let me just say that Mayor-elect Johnson, when he was mayor-elect, his spokesman did put out a statement that basically aligned with the Hancock administration on this issue. Further discussion. Call for the question. Item number 11A1.
Mayor, we need a motion and a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Drinsky.
motion to approve item 11A1.
It's been moved by Councilmember Drinsky, seconded by
Sundberg.
Councilmember Zvonek. Further discussion? Seeing no, call for the question on the adoption of item number 11A1.
The motion passes with 5 yes votes, 4 no votes from Councilmember Medina, Marcano, Coombs, and Gardner. Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Item number, would the clerk please read the title to item number 13A? In the right place. I'm sorry. Would the clerk now please read the title to item number 12B?
Yes. Item 12B is public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2023-29, amending Chapter 146 of the City Code of the City of Aurora, Colorado, as it relates to the use of turf and ornamental water features.
Public hearing is now open. Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. This is Brandon Camerata with the Planning Department. This ordinance relates to the UDO zoning code, landscape code. The intent of this is to make certain sections of landscape code consistent with the previously adopted water-wise ordinance from last fall, which was 2022-46. This proposed UDO ordinance does not expand water-wise requirements beyond what was previously adopted. In general, the impacts relate to limitations of turf on residential lots and areas along streets. At the recent Planning Commission meeting on July 12th, Planning Commission recommended approval 6-0 for approval of this ordinance. This ordinance is also sponsored by Councilmember Bergen. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are.
Mayor.
Councilmember Bergen.
Oh, no questions. I was going to make a comment. Do I do that later?
I'm sorry. Katie, I'm not used to this format here. Do I go to public and invite it to be heard next?
Yes, there's no applicant and there's nobody from the public that would like to speak.
Very well, and there's no applicant. Okay.
Mayor, excuse me, quick point of clarification on the last item. It said that it failed.
I'm sorry, the e-scribe must have messed that up. It just needed a simple majority of 5 members to pass.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go to your comment in a minute. Questions of staff? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Bergen.
Yes, thank you. And I just wanted to state that this was really just to put our code into alignment with the ordinance that was passed. So thank you.
Further discussion? Motion is in order. A motion to approve item number 12B is in order.
Motion to approve 12B.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by
Sundberg.
Councilmember Sundberg to approve item number 12B. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 12B. Call for the question.
Councilor, thank you. The motion passes to adopt item 12B, ordinance 2023-29.
Will the clerk now please read the title, item number 13A?
Item 13A is introduction of ordinance 2023-30, amending sections 13861, 13862, 13863, 13866, and 13867 of the City Code pertaining to the Citizens Water Advisory Committee and renaming it the Citizens Water Advisory Commission.
Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Council and Mayor. My name is Greg Baker. I am the Deputy Director for Water Internal and External Relations. This ordinance would add additional powers to the current Citizens Water Advisory Committee. These powers would allow it to become a point of reconsideration for two items. One item would be any external entity that wishes to provide a water acquisition or large water project to the city, and staff has declined that request. The other one would be for any large water user that exceeds thresholds already established by Aurora Water for commercial or industrial use. It would provide, again, a point of reconsideration for that entity if they wish a reconsideration. The committee would then have to come to Water Policy Committee with a report of findings and a recommendation. Two other points of this ordinance would also change the structure slightly on the committee. Right now the committee has up to nine members, 8 of which are residential customers, 1 representing a commercial entity. This would add an additional commercial entity to that group while keeping the 9-member committee structure. And then finally, it would change the name of the committee from the Citizens Water Advisory Committee to the Citizens Water Advisory Commission to be in line with standard protocol for citizens advisory committees versus council committees.
Questions of staff?
Mayor?
Seeing Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you. And thank you, Greg, for the quick presentation there. I'm curious, I guess, what really led to this coming before council? Because I find it interesting that we would give a committee powers to effectively overrule Aurora Water's recommendations with regards to water use, especially for large water use projects?
It's a great question. Thank you, Councilmember Mercado. It's not to overrule us, but it is a point of reconsideration. Quite often when we have these entities come to us with these suggestions, either for water use or for water purchase, if they're in disagreement with staff's recommendation, they quite often take the appeal straight to council or to the mayor. So we were hoping to provide them with an additional point of reconsideration since the committee already is well versed in many of these water policy decisions.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for the clarification.
Certainly.
Mayor?
Further questions of staff? Councilmember Bergen?
And so it would ultimately, after they reconsidered the matter, it would still be up to council?
Yes, it's a policy consideration, so it always come to council. It's simply another point for discussion and for recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
Further questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to approve 13A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Bergen?
Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 13A. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13A.
The motion passes to adopt ordinance 2023-30.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 13B?
Item 13B is introduction of ordinance 2023-31, submitting to a vote of the registered electors of the City of Aurora, Colorado at the regular municipal election of November 7th, 2023, proposed amendments to Articles 2.2, 310, 314.4, 314.5, 314.7, 315.1, 315.3, 315.4, 316.6, 316.8A, 316.8J, 316.8JA, 317.2, 317.3, 52, 59, 65, 74E, 74F, 82, 10.1, 10.5, 10.8, 11.3, 14.9, and 15.9 of the City Charter concerning non-substantive updates to the City Charter to render gender-specific pronouns as non-gender-specific nouns inclusive of all persons, or as the expression of that person, specifically changing the word chairman to chairperson, the word his to that. The word his to that person or a noun, the expression his or her to that person or a noun, the expression he or she to that person or a noun, and the word he to that person, and amending Article 5.9 to incorporate direction that uniform codes adopted by the city for inclusion in the city code shall first be amended to inclusive non-gender specific pronouns or nouns.
Brief presentation by staff.
Mayor, point of order, that's not the language that I had brought forward was the they and them, not the that person or noun version. This was a version that had been drafted but not introduced.
Hold up. Katie, is there time if we have to defer this so to get it on the ballot?
Wait, Mayor, can I say something?
Well, please, let's answer the question first.
Yes. Let me double check the calendar really quick. So today is July 17th. We could possibly get it back on for July 31st and with a final reading of August 14th.
Okay. Do you have substitute language at this time?
It's it was the language that originally went forward to the public hearing that was just they and them, not that person. This was a version that had kind of been sent to me by Dave Lathers before he resigned that we didn't move forward with because it was too cumbersome.
All right. So, apologies if that's correct. This was the version that went to the study session.
Yeah, Mayor.
Councilmember Jaworski.
Thank you. So when this came to study session, I think that was the night that you were pretty sick. And I believe Councilmember Marcano, he spoke about it on your behalf. And we agreed that night, so that's why you're not aware of it, but we agreed that night that the only way we'd move it forward is not they and them pronouns, is the name of, and it's still kind of worded wrong in here, but is the name of the position. So the city manager, the city attorney, but that's why you're not aware of it, because that night we agreed to move it forward without they them pronouns.
Okay. Councilmember Coombs, what would you like to do? I mean, we can either vote on this, or you can delay it, or you can amend.
I guess if that's the only way that folks are going to support it, then we can approve it this way. It's just a little cumbersome, I think, for folks to understand when it's written on the ballot in that way. But if that's the only way folks will support it, then I will go ahead and we'll move it forward as is.
And Councilmember Coombs and Mayor, if I may, I believe that this exact verbiage went to the study session on July 10th as well.
Mayor?
Yeah,
Councilmember Bergen?
that's fine. We can vote on it as is. I think
Okay.
it's, again,
I was just going to make Katie repeat it all over again, but I'm just kidding.
Please don't.
Okay. Is there a limit to how many words are on a ballot? Okay, it's your discretion.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
it's interesting because it actually is less cumbersome and easier to understand to say they and them, and folks are opposed to doing that. But I do think that it's important that our city charter language in general not be gendered. And most legal language is not gendered anyway. Most laws are not gendered in the way they're written. So I continue to support making those changes.
Very well. Okay. Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Jack.
I'm sorry. I'm going to even further complicate this, because in looking at the title of this, it doesn't match the ballot language itself. The ballot language on page 1219 on the agenda does have the exact. It does refer to they or their expression. I'm just picking a few spots. The expression his or her in iteration would change to their. Expression he or she in iteration would be they, which is a lot cleaner. But
I would recommend that you pull it. I would recommend that you continue it and have an opportunity to reflect on it and come up with the language. It's your discretion.
But since there's an inconsistency between the charter language and the title, do we have to do this again with things all being consistent and correct? Because I think I was just looking at the actual amendment.
So I think the title of the ordinance needs to be consistent with the question, and I see some disparity between the two right now. And some direction of what would we like to do would be a good place to start.
Councilmember Jurinski.
Yeah, so the middle ground we felt, because I think there was some of us that if we were going to use pronouns, the pronouns would have been he or she. And obviously you want they and them. So I think the middle ground that we found that night in the study session was to refer to the position just as the position's name.
Councilmember Coombs, my suggestion would bring it back to the next study session.
Yeah, I think, well, maybe just back to the next council meeting with everything being consistent, because I don't think we have time to go study session council meeting again. And also, there's been enough discussion, so I think we can just make sure everything is all the same version when it comes back. And I'll respect the wishes that my colleagues have expressed as I'm doing that.
It wouldn't delay it coming to a regular meeting, but that we'll do that then. So it's continued to the next regular meeting of the Aurora City Council.
Okay, Mayor, can we get a motion and a second for that?
Okay, when that is that's a motion. So is there a second? Okay, we need a motion to continue it to July 31st.
Mayor, so moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Bergen.
Seconded by Councilmember Bergen to move item number 13B to July 31st, the regular meeting on July 31st. Discussion? Call for the question.
Councilmembers, thank you. The motion passes to move item 13B to the July 31st City Council meeting.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 15A?
Item 15A is public hearing and consideration of Resolution 2023-78, making certain findings of fact regarding the proposed annexation of a parcel of land located in the south one-half of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 2, Township 6 South, Range 66 West of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Douglas, State of Colorado.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. For the public record, I'm Jacob Cox, Manager of Development Assistance here for the city. Petition for annexation was filed with the clerk for annexation of a 20-acre parcel owned by Prusy Land Company. This parcel is located within Douglas County and generally located northeast of E470 and Parker Road. There's a vicinity map in your backup materials. City Council made a finding of substantial compliance on this annexation on May 22nd, 2023, in which we set this public hearing here tonight. The annexation process follows state law and is considered over 3 council meetings. Tonight's agenda, the second meeting in that process in which council conducts the public hearing, considers approval of a resolution making a finding that the land is eligible for annexation and considers an introduction of the annexation ordinance. The public hearing for the initial zoning ordinance is also conducted this evening. I'll note that we have an outside representative available to assist with any questions on these items, but they do not have a separate presentation, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is there a presentation by the applicant?
There's not.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this issue?
No.
Questions for staff?
Mayor.
Councilmember Bergen.
Thank you. Am I able to ask on any of the 3, or do I have to do one by one?
It's your choice.
Okay. Just in terms of process that you just stated, we already had passed in May the ability to introduce this. And so tonight we're looking at the resolution, the ordinance, and then the zoning. So can you just explain from a process perspective how that works?
Sure. There's about 5 different items that go through the 3 council process as part of state statute. The first one that you mentioned in May, that was the resolution in which we bring the petition, and that's purely stating that we received a petition and we asked council to set the public hearing for tonight. That has to be within 30 to 60 days of that first meeting to meet state law. The second meeting, which we're doing tonight, it's the public hearing on the resolution, which we're basically stating that this is eligible for annexation. It meets the city's requirements and state law in order to be able to annex this land. So that is the first item of the 3 on tonight's agenda packet, and it does indeed meet those eligibility requirements. The second item this evening is the ordinance in which you're actually voting on the annexation, and then the third item is the zoning. Once we establish the jurisdiction, the zoning, which you will hear from the planning department, in which it follows the comprehensive plan based on the context of that land.
Okay,
I'm sorry. And I was going to say, the next meeting will be the finalization of those ordinances at second reading, and then there's an additional item introduced, which is the annexation agreement, in which this annexation agreement follows the city's model.
Okay, thank you. And then, so tonight, we're voting to approve by ordinance this actual annexation. In terms of details of the annexation, when does that come about?
You're voting on the ordinance, which
tonight
is essentially the first reading of approval of the annexation this evening, yes.
And if we voted no tonight, we could still vote yes. If we needed more information, we could still vote at the final.
On the ordinances, that would be accurate.
Okay. And then on the zoning, I know it's basically single family, so there's no multifamily in that zoning?
I do not believe so. I believe it's R1, low-density residential.
Correct, yeah. R1 is low-density, single-family residential. No multifamily is permitted in that zone district.
Okay, and it is a small parcel. It's about 20 acres of the entire master plan. So why would an applicant want to annex into the city and had not done so previously when the whole thing was annexed?
I think there's several reasons for it. The water service, this is also a smaller chunk within about a 120-acre master plan that was submitted concurrently with the annexation. That master plan, I believe, has 270 units roughly, and so it's fairly light density in terms of the overarching 120-acre parcel.
Okay, and then my last question. Since we passed the turf ordinance last year, I believe, that it will not allow new development to have turf in the front yards and only 500 square feet in the backyard. If we were to approve this annexation and zoning, they would have to abide by that ordinance, correct?
They would, because there's not a site plan in process. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of staff? Seeing none, thank you very much. Public hearing is closed. Motion is in order. I'm sorry, yeah, motion.
Mayor, motion to approve 15A.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Bergen.
Seconded by Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 15A. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 15A.
The motion passes to adopt item 15A, Resolution 2023-78.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 15B.
Item 15B is consideration of ordinance 2023-33, annexing a parcel of land located in the south one half of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 2, Township 6 South, Range 66 West of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Douglas, State of Colorado.
Brief presentation by staff.
Again, tonight's agenda, that second meeting in the three-council meeting process, the public hearing was just passed for the resolution. This is the ordinance associated with this annexation, the first reading of the annexation ordinance. No separate presentation from outside representatives.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Oh, I have one question. I'm sorry. Question.
Oh,
Sorry.
Councilmember Bergen.
In terms of road infrastructure, do you foresee any issues with, regional infrastructure that the annexation would affect?
In terms of regional infrastructure, the master plan does have the public improvements phasing document, which we're kind of taking a look at that regional infrastructure in conjunction with the other master plans in the area. Kings Point North, now known as Prairie Point, does show Aurora Parkway kind of coming down. It does touch this property on the north edge of this master plan. So that's all part of the phasing documents, and the master plan's been through one review currently with us. So, and that will be, is that administrative, Eric?
Correct. Yeah, the master plan application is currently administrative. No adjustments have been requested that would elevate it to a public hearing. Obviously, it can be called up as well once it's an administrative decision has been made.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 15B.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Bergen.
Seconded by Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 15B. Call for the question.
The motion passes to adopt item 15B.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 15C?
Item 15C is public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2023-27, zoning a parcel of land measuring 20 acres more or less near the northeast corner of East Spur Lane and Pine Drive to low-density single-family residential zone district and amending the zoning map accordingly.
Brief presentation by staff.
Mayor,
I'm sorry. Public hearing is open. Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor. So my name is Eric Gates. I'm a planner with Planning and Development Services. I'll try to make this brief since we've already been talking about it. This is an application for a zoning map amendment and initial zoning for this 20-acre parcel south of E470 and approximately 1,000 feet to the northeast of Lookout Drive and Spur Lane in Douglas County. This is a proposal to zone it to R1 residential low-density single-family. So here's the current zoning of the area. As you see, the site is currently surrounded by the R1 zone district within Aurora and Douglas County to the south and a little core electric station to the west there as well. It's also worth mentioning the site is surrounded by the established neighborhood place type of the Aurora Places Plan. Its primary uses are listed as all residential uses with some supporting language for commercial and parks development. Ooh. And here's the site should that initial zoning be approved. Zoning designation is being proposed in anticipation of residential development that would occur in this area, single-family residential development. As mentioned, there's a master plan that's currently under staff review and has gone through one round of review so far. The item was heard and unanimously recommended approval from the Planning Commission at their June 14th hearing, and staff also recommends approval based on the review criteria of Section 146-541C13. Thank you.
Is there questions to staff? I'm sorry, is there an applicant present?
I don't believe there's an applicant presentation, but I believe the applicant is present to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this issue?
No.
Very well. Questions of staff, the applicant, or the applicant? Seeing none, public hearing is closed and a motion is in order. Councilmember Bergen.
Motion to approve 15C.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem to approve item number 15C. Discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Bergen.
I made the motion to approve it because it's going to be zoned R1, low density, which would be appreciated by all the surrounding neighborhood. So, thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, motion is in order. Oh, we did that. I'm sorry. Ouch. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 15C.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes to adopt item 15C, ordinance 2023-27.
Great. Reports. I attended a hearing of the Veterans Court. Very, very impressive. I think there were 5 veterans that were at the hearing, and I believe Councilmember Sundberg has also attended a Veterans Court or the graduation, I think, ceremony related to the Veterans Court, but it's really extraordinary. And there were 5 veterans at that time that were involved in the hearing. And it's a fairly rigorous process that where they get basically a deferred sentence for a year to go through the program, and then it's suspended. I don't know what the proper term is, but it's not vacated. I know what that means. And so it's expunged, if you will. But it's an extraordinary, and I thought the judge did a very good job of really tapping into the culture of veterans in terms of supporting each other, and staff supporting them. And they had a VA representative there as well to be able to do appointments basically on site that were necessary. They were required to call in on a daily basis, and there was random urinalysis. And so all the 5 veterans that were in the program were all moving forward in the program. There are 4 phases to the program, and so very impressive. Councilmember Lawson is not here tonight. Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
No report.
Councilmember Jurinsky.
Yes, my Ward 2 counterpart for the Ward 2 town halls is in fact playing hooky this week. So I will be running the Ward 2 town hall solo. And it is at 6:30 at the Central Rec Center. So let's get a record turnout for this town hall, since Councilmember Sundberg will not be there.
Councilmember Zvonek.
No report.
Okay, Councilmember Murillo.
No report.
Councilmember Sundberg.
I'd like to thank my colleague, Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky, for filling in for me. It should be an exciting evening of public safety, budget, and open space in Ward 2. I did get a chance. I put my artsy hat on and had a glass of wine. I attended the Aurora Cultural Arts District, ACAD, at an art show, and to support Board Chair Stephanie Hancock. And that was enjoyable, with incredible art from Sudeka Nzinga. Sir.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I got to be a judge for the African Chamber of Commerce, looking at proposals from youth There was quite a few activities there and presentations by youth. They did a pretty good job there, and 3 of them came out with some financial support to start their ideas. So that's all I've got.
Councilmember Marcano.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to go on a ride along with Chief Acevedo from Friday at 7 p.m. till about 4 a.m. on Saturday. A whole lot happened, and probably more time than I want to take up here, but long story short, we got to help a woman in crisis. We got a drunk driver off the road, and we shut down a drug dealing operation, so that was pretty great. We also found some technology issues that we need to address for the department, so I'm hoping we'll be able to bring something forward in the near future on that. Our next Ward 4 meeting will be on Thursday, August 10th at 6:30 p.m. at Colorado Early Colleges, and our topic is still to be determined as our planned presentation had to be moved on to September, so hope to see you all then.
Councilmember Coombs.
Thank you, Mayor. My next town hall will be this upcoming Tuesday at 6 p.m. At the Central Recreation Center. We'll have a presentation on from the Forestry Department on some work that they're going to be doing within Ward 2 in people's neighborhoods so that folks are aware when they're planting trees, when they're taking out trees, and don't think and are expecting for them to come. We also will have PAR and fire as we generally do, and we'll have a presentation from the Highline Canal Conservancy about their projects in the city of Aurora. And then I have had the opportunity to attend a lot of great community events in the last few weeks since our last meeting. The Colfax Breakfast Club, a Bengali community lunch and soccer game, a community baby shower at Dayton Street Opportunity Center where they provided strollers, car seats, diapers, and other supplies for folks that are expecting children, and Aurora Eco Fest, as well as an event with Suburban Futures, which is an organization that's working with our community on civic engagement and just understanding better who Aurora is and helping folks to really connect with the city. So I'm hopeful that we can have more of a partnership with them, with our Civic Engagement Commission moving forward. And then I also was able to attend the Colorado Gay Rodeo Association Rocky Mountain Regional Rodeo at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds. And upcoming at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds, of course, is our county fair, which will be kicked off by the Boots Not Suits dinner next week. Yes, next Thursday. And let's all have on our calendars for August 5th, Aurora Pride at the Aurora Reservoir. Thank you.
Seeing no further business before the Aurora City. Oh, gosh, Councilmember Bergen, I'm in trouble. I'm really in trouble tonight.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Councilmember Bergen.
I've got about an hour report.
Ouch.
No, first I want to say happy birthday to my husband. His birthday's today, and I didn't even get him a cake, so I think he did DoorDash and ordered one. My town hall is this Wednesday night. It's going to be an exciting one because we're going to have a retail presentation for all of you who wonder, why can't we get, a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods or whatever good restaurant? Our retail specialists will be able to explain all that. And also we will have a report from the Consent Advisory Council, and then I have someone from DOLA that will talk about the Ridgeview update, and then my updates as usual. Just real quickly on E470, the Jewel Avenue Trail that we are partnering with them on, which shall start in August. Guardrail signals that I know my constituents are very excited about has started and should be completed this fall. And then the central maintenance facility, if you're driving on E470 heading north, on the left you will see this massive cement building. It won't look like that. It's going to be this beautiful barn-looking facility as the new central maintenance facility. And then finally, on the Opioid Governance Council, we are in the process of finalizing our decisions on RFPs. So that's it. Good night.
Seeing no further business before the Aurora City Council meeting is adjourned.